What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring Odd Eyes, but before I begin, if you could happen to click on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. Clicking on those notification bells would also mean a lot, as they notify you when I upload on the channel. So to begin, I do want to say that I will be covering multiple variants, including some deck lists at the end, but I'm going to start this one by activating the Sky Iris. We'll be able to pop our Gentrude. Now we can get ourselves the search for the Revolution Dragon, as now we can use the Gentrude, which will place the Butler on the field, or the Valet. And this is the first new card that we're getting. Its Pendulum effect reads, once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can make that opponent's monster lose 300 attack for each face-up Pendulum monster in your extra deck. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one Performapal or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Valet. And if you do, this card's level becomes the same as that monster's until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Valet once per turn. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place it in your Pendulum zone. Mildly decent card. It's a name and a scale 8, which can come up in some hands like this where you may not have a lot, and you're going to see where we're going to get our Dark Worm now. We're going to get ourselves the search for the Gate 0, which is a low scale, and now we can Pendulum summon anything from 1 to 7, and we're going to bring out our Gentrude, as we'll be able to go into our number 41 and pass, which is more important if you're playing the pure version of this build, because that one's less explosive than the variant. So knowing little stuff like this is worth it if you want to play the deck. Now for this second combo, this is a 2.5 card combo. This one can be any high scale or any low scale, really, as you're going to be able to search your other one. But the Odd Eyes Butler is the second new card that we'll be getting, and it reads, once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can add one Odd Eyes Pendulum monster from your graveyard to the extra deck face up, and if you do negate the attack, then you can gain life points equal to that Pendulum monster's attack, and that is the Pendulum effect. The monster effect reads, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Performapal or Odd Eyes monster card you control, except Butler, special summon this card, then destroy the targeted card. You can only use each effect of Butler once per turn. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone. So this is a much better card overall, as you're able to pop the Gentrude and just get your plays going from there, and you're going to see that it actually does enable some stuff that you may not expect as this video progresses. But we're going to special summon out the Butler, popping the Gentrude. The Gentrude can then get us the handstand, and we're going to use the handstand in order to return it to our hand, and now we'll be able to normal summon it, go into our Beyond the Pendulum, and now we'll be able to use the Beyond the Pendulum in order to search our monkey board, as now we can activate the monkey board along with the Valet. Then we can Pendulum summon. You can use your Beyond the Pendulum destroy effect if you want to, depending on the circumstance, of course, but we're going to use the effect of the monkey board to get ourselves the Joker, and now we can go into the Appaloosa with the follow-up of the Joker for our next turn. So as stated, if you are playing the pure version, your boards are a little bit less explosive, but just stick around to find out what else you can do. Now for this next one, this one focuses on the Draco Slayer variant, and you'll see that this one isn't as explosive either. I think out of all the variants that I'll be covering, the Draco Slayer one is the least explosive, and we'll be using the Draco Slayer or the Luster in order to pop the Gentrude, and now we can use the Gentrude in order to place the Butler, and now we'll be able to Pendulum summon our two Gentrudes, and now we can just number 41 pass. Now for probably the most explosive variant that we have here, I'm going to be starting with the Butler along with the Gentrude, and then we'll use its effect in order to pop the Gentrude and get ourselves the special summon along with the placement of the handstand, and now we can use the handstand to return it to our hand, and now you can go into your Beyond the Pendulum depending on your hand, or you can go into your Sprite Sprint, and this will be able to send ourselves the Angler, and the Angler can then get ourselves the Nimble Beaver so that we can make our Sprite plays now, as we can go into our Gigantic, use its effect in order to search the blue. The blue will be able to get ourselves the Jet, the Red, or the Carrot, whatever you want to go into, as we'll go into the Masquerena now, special summon out the Jet, use its effect, as now we can get our starter, set the starter, and then we can end on that. Then this next combo here also features the Sprite version, but I do want to show what happens when you play with Bestials, and we'll be able to use the Gentrude along with the Butler in tandem to get ourselves the special summon along with the placement of the handstand. The handstand can then return itself to the hand with its effect, and then we'll normal summon it, go into our Sprite Sprint, use its effect in order to go into the Shinobi Necro, use the effect of Magna Hut, which will be able to banish the Shinobi Necro, then trigger its effect in order to special summon it, as we'll be able to use the Magna Chainlink 2. Then we'll continue by synchro summoning into the entertainment, and we'll use its effect in order to special summon back out the handstand. And now we can go into our gigantic sprite, use its effect in order to bring out the blue, and then from here we can use the blue's effect in order to get ourselves the jet, as from here we'll be able to go into our IP Masquerena, special summon out the jet, the red or the carrot, whatever you go into, but then we'll set the starter or the smashers or the double cross, whatever you want to get, and we'll be able to end our end board on this. We'll also be able to get ourselves the Bestial Search during the end phase. Now for this next combo that I'll be showing in this video, as we'll start here with the Butler along with the Gentrude, and this time around we're going to get ourselves the Valet off of the Gentrude, as we'll be able to normal summon the Joker. Now use its effect in order to get ourselves the monkey board, activate the monkey board, then use its effect in order to get ourselves the handstand, go into our Beyond the Pendulum, use its effect which will allow us to search for the Odd Eyes Dissolver, and then from here we can Pendulum Summon 2, as we're going to be able to bring out our level 5, the level 4 Joker along with the handstand, and I meant Pendulum Summon 3, I'm sorry about that, as we're going to use the effect of the Beyond the Pendulum to pop our scales, then use the Dissolver in order to go into our Vortex, which from here we can now go into our Sprite Sprint, use that effect in order to send the Angler, and now you can use the Angler in order to get your 2 Beavers, start Sprite comboing from here, as we'll be able to use the Elf now, or the Gigantic Sprite to special summon out the blue, use the blue in order to get your red, carrot, or jet, and then go into your IP Masquerena, special summon out your Sprite, get yourself your starter, smashers, or double cross, whatever you want to get, as from here you'll be able to end your end board on that. Now for the penultimate combo, and this will be another Draco Slayer combo, as we're going to start with the Gentrude, we'll pop it with the Butler, as now we can use the effect of the Gentrude in order to place the handstand, and from here we'll use the handstand in order to return it to hand, as we'll be able to normal summon it now, go into our Beyond the Pendulum, use its effect, and now we can get the Majesty, which is really cool because this just gets you into combo by having those 3 cards. And now we're going to Pendulum Summon, as we're going to be able to use monster effects now along with our Pendulum skills, but we're going to use the effect of the Majesty in order to pop the Ignis and get ourselves the Search, as we're going to special summon out the Luster off of the Ignis and then place the Dino Mist onto the board with the ability to special summon out the Majesty now off of its effect. We're going to use the Majesty in order to get a field spell. If you have an extra card, you actually be able to use this. We don't, so we're just going to toss it, and then we're going to activate our Ignister now, as we're going to get the extra special summon here, bring out the Luster, as from here now we can go into our Magister, then use the Magister's effect, which will get us a search in the end phase, then use its Detach effect, which will special summon out the Majesty, and from here you can go into your Dynaster, then use its effect in order to revive the Luster, and then we can go into our Appaloosa, then go into our number 38, and this will round out our end board. For the final combo, and this is also the final variant that I'll be showing, the Super Heavy version, and this one I have a love-hate relationship with, where you do like what it brings to the table, and it can bring some explosive plays, make bigger boards, but it also does still have the drawback of playing super heavy stuff along with other archetypes, which can be pretty awkward sometimes, especially when you consider that your Odd Eye stuff kind of wants to work in tandem with each other. But we're going to then go into our Gear 4, or we're going to go into our X, as we'll be able to use its effect in order to get ourselves the Soul Piercer, normal summon the Soul Piercer, and now we're able to go into our Anger Knuckler. Now we can use the Knuckler in order to get ourselves the Gearbox, and then we can use its effect in order to get ourselves the Waka Flocka, and now we can use the effect of the Gearbox in order to get ourselves the Super Heavy Samurai Scale 8 to level 1, I forget its name, but we're going to place our Gentrude now. Then we can use the effect of the Butler, special summon it out by popping the Butler or the Gentrude, and then we'll bring out the Handstand, use its effect, put it in hand, as now we can place the Super Heavy Scale onto the field. We'll then go into the Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum will get us a search for the Odd Eyes Persona Dragon, and I figured this was probably the best thing that we can go for because of the deck list that I'll be showing for this. It does get you into an immediate disruption, and because of this specific line of play, we have used our normal summon, so that's why I'm also doing it. But now going to a pendulum summon, as we'll be able to bring out a total of 5 monsters. If you want to destroy cards, you can pendulum summon the Persona Dragon over here instead. But we're then going to be able to go into our Axel. Axel can revive the bike, as now we can go into our Baron. From here we can go into the Appaloosa. And this will give us a total of 5 negations with the Persona Dragon, the Baron, and the 3 Appaloosa monster negation. Now, before I get onto the deck profiles, I want to show one test hand with the Pier build, and we're going to start here by activating our monkey board, use its effect in order to get ourselves the Joker, and now the Joker can get its effect after we normal summon it in order to get ourselves the Gentrude. Because we have the Butler in hand, we can activate the Gentrude, use the effect of Butler, pop the Gentrude, and then we can use the Gentrude as we special summon the Butler, get ourselves the Valet, go into our Beyond the Pendulum, and from here our Beyond the Pendulum can get ourselves the Pendulum Sorcerer. From here we can now Pendulum summon, as we'll Pendulum summon out the Sorcerer, Joker, the Butler, and the Zephyros, as we'll then be able to use the Sorcerer to pop our scales, and we'll also be able to get ourselves 2 searches, as we're going to get ourselves the Seer and the Dissolver, and now we'll go into our Appo, as we'll be able to activate the Dissolver, fuse our way our Seer along with our Dissolver to go into our Vortex, and now we'll be able to use the Zephyros in order to bring back our Dissolver, special summon it, and now we can go either into a rank 4 or into the IP Masquerena to round out our end board. So with all of the combos out of the way, the first deck that I want to talk about is the Bright variant, and I do think that this is the best one just based off of ceiling and being able to go beyond 40 cards and then play a bunch of going second cards. As you see, we have the 3 Talents, we have a total of 6 Bestials, the 3 Ash, the 3 Bell, and the 3 Imperm. Also able to play the full Nimble package, as you don't have to max out on sprite names because you do still want to see a chunk of your Pendulum cards, and you'll see that we actually don't even play a lot when you consider we're playing 60 cards. The cards that we do play happen to be the ones that make your plays go with the 3 Joker along with the 3 Gentrude and the 3 Butler. We also have the Seer, which is a very solid Pendulum summon. The Dissolver gets you into a potential Vortex, and then you just have your other one-ofs like the Zephyros that you can take off of Borea Storm. You can return your Pendulum Scales to hand for the Zephyros and then just go from there. As we have the Caligo, which is a search off of Cupid Pitch. We are on the Assault Synchron and we're playing the sprite stuff, so that's why that's there. Outside of that, I really don't have too much else to say about this version. I think this is probably the version that I showed the most, so I'll just go on to the card by card before I take you on to the next list. We have the 1 Pendulum Dragon, the 1 Seer, the 1 Odd Eyes Dissolver, the 1 Persona, the 2 Blue, the 3 Magna Hut, the 2 Jet, the Monkey Board, the Revolution Dragon, the 3 Butler, the 1 Gate Zero, the 1 Carrot, the 1 Druis Worm, and the 1 Baldrake, Saranir Red, the 1 Dark Worm, the 3 Gentrude, the Zephyros, Caligo, the Odd Eyes Valet, the Shinobi Necro, Mashers and 2 Starters, the Sky Iris, we have the 3 Ash Blossoms, the 3 Bells, 2 Anglers, the 3 Assault Synchron, the 1 Lady Ange, which you play because you also play the Gentrude, and you also can get a draw 2 of this, which can come up in the grind game, but you have to be careful with Ash, as it is kind of like Dark Lord Ixchel, where you have to discard this card and the Performapal monster as cost. So then we have the Handstand and the Whim Witch. I would like to talk about the Whim Witch because when you're going second and your opponent has a monster on board, in those combos where I was using the Handstand, you can actually search out the Whim Witch and then special summon it. So keep in mind that that monster has to be special summoned from the extra deck, and you can't have one. Then we have the 3 Joker, the 3 Talents, the 3 Nimble Beaver, along with the 3 Imperm to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the Zeus, the 2 Gigantics, the 1 number 41, Odd Eyes Vortex, Cupid Pitch, Borea Storm, Entertainment, Excel, Baron, Beyond the Pendulum, Friend, Masquerena, Unicorn, and Appaloosa to round out deck profile. For the next list, we have the Pure one, and you'll notice that I'm on a fair amount of one-ofs, but there is a good reason for that. The Lady Ange, Whim Witch, along with the Handstand and Valet are all here for the Gentrude. The Monkey Board is Monkey Board. Pendulum Sorcerer, you search off of Joker to make more splash plays. Then you also have have the Persona, which self-explanatory, it's a negate. Then you have the Dark Worm, Gate Zero, and Odd Eyes Revolution package. This is just nice to search off of the Beyond the Pendulum so that you can get yourself into a scale 0 when you need to. Sometimes you're just able to cycle through some of the cards in your deck as well and get you into more extenders, so that's kind of nice. But the heart and soul of the deck, I would have to say, are the 3 Joker, the 3 Butler, the 3 Gentrude, along with the Dissolver and Seer. The Astrograph is nice because the Butler destroys the Gentrude, and then you kind of just combo off from there. You also have a fair amount of going second slots, as you can see, with the 3 Ash, the 3 Bells, the Evenly, the 2 Imperms, the 2 Talents, and the 1 Thrust. Play whatever the format calls for, but this is just what I'm using right now. There's also the 2 Assault Synchron and the 1 Zephyros, which I kind of do like in this deck because you're able to go into Borea Storm on your Joker hands, and then on top of that you can send the Zephyros, get a scale back into your hand, and then continue to combo from there. And another thing that I like about that is the fact that you're able to put back one of the scales that you might want in hand to Pendulum Summon later, since you are playing a lot of one-ofs that may not necessarily want to stay on the scales. But anyways, I'll just get onto the card by card so we can get onto the next one. And we have the 1 Seer, the 1 Sky Iris, the 1 Astro, the 1 Dissolver, the 3 Ash, the Odd Eyes package with the Revolution, the Gate Zero, and the Dark Worm, the Lady Ange, the Odd Eyes Arc, which again doesn't have to be here, the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon doesn't have to be here, the Gentrudes, the 3 Butlers, the 1 Whimwish, the 1 Handstand, the 1 Valet, the 1 Zephyros, the 2 Assault Synchron, the 2 Bells, or the 3 Bells, the 1 Evenly, the 2 Imperms, the 2 Talents, the 1 Thrust, the 1 Monkey Board, the Sorcerer, Persona, and the 3 Joker to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Borea Storm, Meteorite, Entertainment, Stardust Axel, Baron, number 41, Absolute, Masquerena, the 2 Beyond the Pendulum, Unicorn, Appaloosa, Avramax, and the Underworld Goddess to round out the deck profile. I would also like to point out that the 2 Beyond the Pendulums can be 1 Beyond the Pendulum and Celine if you do want to play that. Now for the super heavy one, you'll see that I do max out on the Gentrude and the Butler and the Seer on this one. This is because since you are playing 2 archetypes that kind of want to see their own cards, in best case scenario you're seeing something like 2 of these, along with 1 or 2 of these, and then maybe like a hand trap or 2. See that we're also on the Assault Synchron for this one, as I feel like Assault Synchron can be tossed into pretty much any deck that can Synchro Summon, especially considering that you're not making room for too much other extra deck stuff that you wouldn't play, so it's just another extender at that point. I like to think that for the ratios, everything is pretty standard. I don't play the second Big Benkei, though that can definitely change. We are playing 60 cards, so that's why I feel it wasn't necessary. I also wanted to be able to play multiples of the Soul Peacemaker and the Soul Piercer. You can change how you go about the deck quite easily, as there is a lot of flex spots. See that we're on a ton of one-ofs here as well, and the only reason that I play the 1 Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon is because with your new Odd Eyes stuff, you don't really go into a lot of plays with the Revolution Dragon unless you specifically cater your deck to do so, and being able to just get this search off of Beyond the Pendulum or even Joker feels better to me, as it just cycles through the rest of your engine without having to waste too much slots on it. Astrograph is another pretty cool card here, as you're able to trigger it off the Gentrude pop when you do it with the Butler. That is something else important to note, but with 60 cards it can be rough getting it off. Outside of that, I don't think I have too much else to say about this one, so I'll get onto the card by card of the 3 Gentrude, the 3 Butler, the 3 Seer, the 3 Joker, the 1 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, the 1 Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon, Sky Iris, 3 Assault Synchron, the 1 Dark Worm, the 1 Gate Zero, Revolution, Astrograph, Dissolver, Persona, Sorcerer, Monkey Board, Valet, Handstand, Whim, Lady Ange, Zephyros, Gearbox, 2 Soul Piercer, 2 Soul Peacemaker, 3 Bike, 1 Booster, 1 Coral, 1 Benkei, 3 Waka Flocka, 3 Mourner, 3 Bell, 3 Ash, 3 Magna Hut, 1 Baldrake, 1 Saronir, and 1 Druis Worm to round out the main deck. To the extra deck, we have the Underworld Goddess, Appaloosa, Unicorn, Beyond the Pendulum, Ballista, Masquerena, Odd Eyes, X, Baron, Savage, Axel, Entertainment, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst, Borea Storm, and Vortex to round out the deck profile. Draco Slayer build, and this one is the most straightforward out of all of them. You play the 2 Butler along with your Gentrude in order to serve as a supplementary engine for your Draco Slayer stuff. Now, I don't know how much I quite like this yet. I think that the previous version I showed may have more benefits to it, seeing as you are playing of the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon in order to get more searches rather than you are trying to combo off with Butler plus the Gentrude. I felt that this was still worth going just because the Luster Pendulum along with the Gentrude lead to some interesting plays when you happen to actually draw more cards than just these two. The fact that Performapal Odd Eyes Butler has Odd Eyes in its name is also interesting because you're able to get Dissolver pretty easily in this deck. Able to go into your Vortex sooner is usually better. Unlike the other builds, you'll notice that this version doesn't focus too hard on trying to cycle your Performapal monsters, and the reason for that is because you still want your Draco Slayer stuff to do the heavy lifting for this deck. You have to remember that your Draco Slayer stuff wants Draco Slayer stuff, and your Performapal / Odd Eye stuff wants stuff from their own archetype. Because we're also playing 40, you want to be able to just get the most you can do for least, if you understand what I mean. With all of that out of the way, I'll get onto the card by card. So we have the 1 Odd Eyes Arc, we have the Handstand, the 1 Monkey Board, the 1 Rhoda, the 3 Bunbuku, the 3 Majesty, the 3 Ignis, the 3 Dynamist, the 1 Seer, the 2 Butler, the 1 Joker, the Dissolver, the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, the 3 Gentrude, 3 Luster, the 2 Imperm, the 1 Evenly, Sky Iris, Secret Village, along with the Charge, 2 Talons, and the Thrust, and the 3 Kaiju. Round out the main deck. For the extra deck, we have the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, we have the Dynaster, we have the Ignister, the Draco Slayer, the number 41, number 38, the Pendulum, Spheres, Scarena, Unicorn, Selene, Appaloosa, Dread, along with the Zelantis to round out this deck profile. Before I wrap up the video, I would actually like to talk about some of the options that you have here. Alt Synchron, if you want to go over 40, does give you more synchro plays, though you do have to change your extra deck a bit for that. And because I think that it is best to use this deck more as a Draco Slayer deck rather than a Performapal version, I do think that best off to stay with a more normal extra deck. Also see that I have stuff like Exchange and the Crossout here. Nibiru is still a big problem for all these variants, and being able to counter it any way that you can is important. First, you have stuff like Solemn and the Ariadne package that you can side in if you want to be able to modify your boards a little bit more. Zombie World along with Goliath are other stuff that you can play to floodgate your opponent. We have the Lava Golem in the Sphere mode. You don't really normal summon like that in this deck. You see that we are on the 1 Joker precisely because we want to be able to search it out rather than make it the main focus of the deck. With all of that out of the way, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Have any suggestions? Feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.